this way, but let's see. So, trying to think if I can show you visually what it means when we're dividing with fractions. When we're dividing with normal numbers, it's really easy, isn't it? If we've got 6 apples, and we're dividing them amongst 3 people, we divide our 6 apples by our number of people. And we get that each of the people get 2 apples each. Okay? So we take what our original number is and divide by what we're interested in finding out to get the number of apples each. What do we think about when we're dealing with fractions then? Well, if we think about the second fraction as being number b, and the first fraction as being number a in algebra. So what we're saying is, how many halves, in this case, so in this case we're saying, how many halves go into a quarter? So if we think that we've got this quarter and we're actually covering it over with a half, we're saying, how much of this fraction have we covered? Well, we've only covered half of our fraction, so there's half left that we haven't covered. So we could say that a quarter divided by a half is going to give us a half left. Okay? There's only going to go half of that fraction into a quarter. Let's see what it works like mathematically using the rule that I've shown you. A quarter, multiply, swap these two around. 2 over 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 1 is 4. 2 quarters, which is a half. So how many quarters, how many halves go into 1 quarter? You're only covering half of this half. So that's why we get the answer half. What about this one then? How many quarters do they go into a half? This is almost easier. How many quarters go into a half? Well, 1 quarter would go into a half, but we'd also get another quarter going into a half. So how many quarters would go into a half? There'd be 2 quarters that would go into a half. So there'd be 2 of these going into a half. So I'd be expecting the answer 2. Let's see if it works. A half. Change this to multiply. Swap the second number upside down, and you must always swap the second number, never the first. A half times 4 over 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. So we get equals 2. So these sums look very similar. A quarter divided by a half, but that will give you the answer a half. Whereas a half divided by a quarter will give you the answer 2. So how many times does this fraction go into that fraction? That's what you're actually thinking of doing when you're trying to divide with fractions.